After COVID, a lot of us are working from home, are working remotely with your immediate team. So how to maintain and build or even strengthen your relationship with your manager or with your team. Today, we're going to share 3 tips. Hi, everyone. Jade from Career Journey Professional based in Sydney, helping you to find and land in a career that's suitable to who you are, what you're best at, and fulfill the value that you are chasing in your career. So I was previously, actually a few weeks ago, I was interviewed by SBS, which is a broadcasting company in Australia. I was going to say TV station. It's actually, they have radio side as well. So it's a broadcasting company. And we talked about this topic. It's on how do we build work relationship after COVID, given that we are a lot of times working from home or working remotely from your colleague, your manager, basically your team member. So today, again, I'm going to share 3 tips. So before we get started, I always encourage my clients to really sit down and think about the work communication goal they want to achieve and followed by an action plan. So goal itself is just your desire, but action plan or step-by-step plan is what is really going to help you to implement it, to make it happen. So we all know that there are formal kind of interactions as well as the social side of the things. So it's going to be a combination of the both that we're going to talk about. However, I do like to break it down into different levels of communication that you may have. How do I mean by that? Basically, based on who you are going to communicate with, and then you probably have different goals and different plan. Let's get started. So the first type of the person that you're going to talk to is obviously people who are upward. By upward, I mean within the hierarchy. It could be your supervisor, it could be your manager, it could be your department head, it could be your team leader, it could be your manager's manager. Basically, everyone who is probably above you. And you obviously will have different goals when you're communicating with this kind of people. It could be making sure they're on board with what your goal for this year is, your career desire, what do you want to achieve, what kind of clients you want to serve, what do you want to learn, what kind of training you want, what support you want, how are you growing, how are you measuring the performance, all those kind of things. Be specific, think about that. And of course, and when we talk about work relationship, how exactly do you mean? What engagement level? What's the actual outcome that you will feel like you have achieved that kind of goal? And this is what I feel a lot of people, when they're setting their career goal, they probably didn't really thought about it. For example, previously, you only talk to your manager about, let's say, only about work matters. And this year, you want to make your bond a bit stronger. Then probably you wanted to start to talk about some of your career aspirations or some of your interests, or just relate to your manager a bit more. Maybe she is struggling with work-life balance, or maybe she has kids, and then you can talk a little bit more of topics off work so that you have that a little bit more connection. But of course, it's always a balance between work. Predominantly, it's going to be about work-related topics. After all, it's your manager. After all, it's people that you encounter at work. But having that a little bit of personal pinch of salt, so you will have a stronger connection, but not too personal. Obviously, not about your relationships. Obviously, not about your house or those kind of thing. It's really a balance that you have control, but trust that you will know the balance where it is. So coming back to what is your actual goal and what is your action plan, and then we talk about the second tier of people, which is basically on the same level as you. It could be your team member, it could be people sitting next to you, it could be people in the same section as you, and it could be people outside of your company, who could be your clients, could be your industry relationships, it could be people who are doing the same job in other company of yours, or people from union, people from same community. These are people, again, you may want to maintain a relationship with. And going back to what is the purpose here? What do you want to achieve? What is the engagement level? How do you know you have reached your goal by the end of the year? How often do you want to meet them? What is the purpose of meeting them? What do you want to get out of it? And lastly, is people who maybe beneath you, or people who are maybe at a junior level compared to where you are in the career ladder. So this could be people who are just joined your team. It could be trainee. It could be people who are temporarily training, or people who are your direct subordinates, or people who are in your team when you're being the manager. And there are also people that you may want to actively develop a relationship with, maybe a mentor in your company who is not necessarily related to what you're doing with your department. Again, a hint here, it's think about your career goal and your network goal. Well, your career goal, normally your company will give you some KPI, your performance expectation anyways, so you can work based on that. And also think about who do you want to build a stronger relationship with, for what purpose. The rule of thumb, of course, in terms of building relationship, it's always strongest. Building the relationship, it's easiest and strongest with face-to-face interactions. The next one, when it comes to online, of course, it's video meeting. Zoom, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Teams, all the other softwares, whatever you use. And then it comes to voice, phone call, and lastly but not least, it's email or internal chat. So the effectiveness starts with face-to-face or video meeting. So today I'm sharing 3 tips based on once you got that goal and once you get that action plan. Is first building a stable presence where people know you, they can find you, and you are constantly showing up, and you're consistently showing up with or without content. So if they want to find you, if they want to talk to you, if they want to communicate to you, they know where and when, roughly. On top of that, apart from all the work communication, the email, the back and forth, internal messengers, you can build your personal presence, your personal brand, if you want to elaborate on that, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A lot of the company do have their linking company page. So if you are composing something that could add value to the team, to the company, company's reputation, company's brand, company's products, do ask if you can tag the company, if you can tag the company page, if you can tag your manager. And so in that way, you're adding value, but also building your presence. Well, another one is obviously, you can write articles or write key points. You can share your experiences or your learnings, share tips. You can comment or share other people's article on those platforms or within your team actively, or in a team meeting setup to add value. And also recommendations. If anyone is asking any questions, obviously if it's something reach out to them and answer. And then just really providing that value, trying to help other people, whereas building your presence as well. So, and also think about whether different contents, whether you want to do it in a group setup or do you want to do it in a one-on-one setup. That again comes back to the relationship that you want to build. Obviously, if it's something that one person is looking for certain information or resources or website, you can definitely reach out to them on a one-on-one conversation so that your connection can be stronger, because there will be back and forth communication. Secondly, the second tips I would suggest is making an agenda, which is every month, every quarter, every month, every week, at the beginning of it, actually sit down and set some agenda, set some schedules. How many people you're going to meet, how are you planning to meet them, and what is the outcome? What do you want to talk about in that meeting? When it's best to start approaching them to schedule that meeting? Setting that time aside and then do things according to your plan, it's going to keep you on track, and it's more professional and appropriate in that way. If you want to, have a meeting with someone, and then you can book them ahead earlier. That's tips number 2. Tips number 3 is actively creating opportunities for you and your manager or your teammates to meet up for whatever desire, whatever purpose, whatever goal that you have. Here, I will give you one example. One of my clients, she is an audiologist, and she works in regional WA, so regional Western Australia, which is Western Australia. It's very big. but there's only 1 or 2 major cities there. So people are quite scattered out. Where she works is actually close to 2-hour drive from the major CBD, from the major city. So up until this year, she's only get to see her manager 3 times. Whereas there are a lot of questions and that she needs extra support because she's a new join, and she is wanting, if in the future there's a possibility for her to move to other area, potentially the CBD area. So before her manager actually come for the quarterly performance review, which is 1 meeting, we actively decided to have a strategy for her to talk to her manager at least twice on the phone, ideally video, if not on the phone, just to bring up some of the topics she may want to talk about, or what sort of information, what sort of resources she need to gather before talk to her manager in the formal performance review. And also that's preparing her manager for her mind as well, that what's going to come up in this meeting, what can she better prepare as well. So the end result, obviously, she's quite happy with the quarterly performance review, and then there will be resources and people helping her for her future career needs. So those are the 3 points that I want to suggest when you are building or you want to strengthen your work relationships after COVID. Another client of mine, she actually have to decide with her manager, at least they need to talk on the phone once, because they were really working remotely from different states. And ever since COVID, they barely get to see each other. For past 1.5 years, they've only seen each other once. Of course, there are work-related emails, exchanges and this and that, but she's just lacking that personal touch with her manager, which she needed when she, being a newly promoted manager herself, she needed to talk to her manager to get more support. So they agreed to talk once every week to have that to build that relationship stronger and to have more frequent communication. And it's locked into their calendar, so it's more formal, and it's definitely going to help them in terms of the connection they have. All right, so that's 3 tips for today. If you find it helpful or do have other questions in this perspective, do reach out to us. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.